Over the past 5 decades, kegglers of all kinds have called the PBA Tour home. And though the style of the times may have changed, the feeling of becoming a Tour champion remains the same. Winning a PBA crown means your name joins the legends. Whether you've won 30 times or it's your first time to raise the crown, the feeling is the same.
This is what I work for!
More history on tap today. The Indiana Dunes National Lakeshore with Chicago in the distance sits just a few miles from where we are today. We welcome you to Olympia Lanes in Hammond, Indiana, and ESPN's live coverage of the Lake County, Indiana Golden Anniversary Championship. Dropstone Randy Peterson with you today, and a slew of storylines in store today, Randy.
Right you are. Starting off our first semifinal match with Walter Ray Williams Jr., the human ATM machine, taking on the number 5th ranked player from last season, Mike Scroggins.
Semi number 2 is a Wedding Crashers theme. Amateur Anthony LaCaze versus his college teammate, his fraternity big brother, and his best man, Bill O'Neill.
And celebrating our 50th anniversary, how about a senior match? Righty versus southpaw, Hugh Miller taking on Tim Kauble.
And wait till we tell you about Tim's day job as we take a look at the semifinal pairings for today's championship. And we will begin with semifinal number 1, the living legend, WRWJ, taking on the first lefty to make a televised appearance this season, Mike Scroggins. Mike Scroggins' last title, the 2008 Pepsi Championship in Omaha, Nebraska. He was seeded first and beat none other than Walter Ray Williams Jr., 245-235, to win the title. Here's Scroggins again, the first lefty to make a televised show this season. You've been watching him during warm-ups, and hasn't been the smoothest of warm-ups for him.
Well, I was watching both players, and after every practice shot, they'd come back scratching their heads, and they didn't look like they were real fond of their ball reaction heading into this opening match.
Early spare.
So Scroggins takes a spare. Up now, Walter Ray Williams Jr., who made the televised show last week, still stuck on 44 career titles, most in PBA history. This is the 165th televised singles appearance for Walter Ray Williams Jr., again seeking his 45th career title, taking on the lefty Mike Scroggins, who has 5 tour titles.
Rob, and the number right here, the 12-2 in match play, that's because Walter Ray averaged almost 250.
High game was a 279. 4 300s were tossed this week. Walter Ray dialed in early.
Going over $4 million in career earnings.
Last week.
Great match in the round of 8 against Tommy Jones.
Get a little faster.
We talked about this with Mike Scroggins when we interviewed him last night. He bowls really well for about 9 of the 10 frames. And one of those frames, it seems like he always gets a little quick, a little fast, and leaves at 3-7.
Asked him last night, what is the strategy when you're bowling against Walter Ray? And he said, you have to come out and shoot about a 230 to have a chance. Spare open frame is going to make 230 a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, and he says, how many times or how many bad games can you remember Walter Ray bowling? He's 50% against Walter Ray on television, but he's, how many times or how many 150s do you remember Walter Ray bowling on television? We both looked at each other and said none.
Finally, able to kick that 10 at the end.
Yeah, good shot there. You can see that ball rolling up a little bit stronger in the back part of the lane.
Here's how Walter got here. Fagan Harmon, Parker Bone III.
Swept Steve Harmon, swept Parker Bone III, and just crushed it.
Leaves the 7, his first non-strike of this semifinal.
Didn't have a game under 200 in match play. When you get into a bracket format and you get Walter around one pair of lanes, he can kind of groove a spot where he likes to play. Normally that spot's outside. And he'll have that area of the lane all to himself.
Has the 3rd highest average this season, just over 221. And here's what he did this week with his average. Huge bump from qualifying to match play.
He qualified in 22nd place, but once he got to match play, he turned it on.
His 3rd strike in 4 frames. Continues to put the pressure on the guy we've kind of dubbed the Rodney Dangerfield of the PBA. No respect. A wonderful guy to be around.
He's a great guy. 5th on the point list last year with 2 wins.
Yeah, gets them all. And here is Mike on his lack of respect.
It's something I've been struggling through my whole career with, because even in college, sophomore year in college, I had 2nd highest average on our team, and I didn't even make the team that year. So it's something I've been dealing with the whole year, and it's like I just have to go on and make good shots and get over it.
Now he's getting it on. That's his personality, too. I mean, he doesn't really get razzled or fazed by much. He doesn't have huge, high expectations or goals for him. He just wants to go out and get better every week and compete.
It's his personality and his bowling style, very unassuming.
Yeah, we asked him what his goals were. He said, you know, my first is to be top 40, to be an exempt player. Make a show, win a title, go from that. Walter Ray continues to build with his strikes.
And Walter Ray doesn't want Mike Scroggins to get a lot of momentum, because he knows that Mike Scroggins is a great player who can string a lot of strikes. Walter Ray knows, hey, man, I got to get back on track here, even though I left that solid 7 in the 3rd frame. I've got a strike working in the 4th. Let me double up, and that's exactly what he does.
4 strikes in 5 frames for WRWJ. Add another. Stand back from Walter Ray when he is tossing like this. My goodness. Big lead early, and on Tuesday, just up the road from here, President-elect Barack Obama gave his acceptance speech. Next, we critique and question his bowling competence. Our campaign for bowling goes to the masses.
The Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN is brought to you by Lumber Liquidators. Hardwood flooring for less. By Geico. 15 minutes could save 15% on your car insurance. Visit geico.com. By Motel 6, the official lodging partner of the PBA. And by the United States Bowling Congress, ensuring the integrity and protecting the future of the sport of bowling. Bowl with us.
We welcome you back to Hammond, Indiana, and the Golden Anniversary Championship. Walter A. Williams Jr. with a chance to bowl for a ham bone, and President-elect Barack Obama with the chance to bowl as many ham bones as he wants at the White House. 2 lanes there, but we flash back to March, a campaign stop in Altoona, Pennsylvania. The President-elect bowled 7 frames. His score, a 37. With form like that, Randy, I'm surprised it was that high.
Gutter balls just won't get it done.
No, it won't. Now, he said that if elected, he would get rid of the bowling lanes in the White House. I don't know if he was completely serious about that, but you have a message for it.
Rob, totally un-American. I put it to you, Mr. President. Leave bowling in the White House. I'm Randy Peterson, and I approve this message.
maybe a couple lessons will pick him up.
Be more than happy to fly
Air Force
to
One.
DC and preferably on Air Force One and hook him up with some freebies.
Scroggins with the ham bone.
Nice break there. Boy, he toppled the bucket, and it looked like he got around that shot just a little bit, which caused it to push a little longer down the lane. There you go, Rob, your limelight.
Some pork barrel spending here in Hammond, Indiana. The ham bone. Another solid week for the underappreciated Mike Scroggins. There's your weekly update, courtesy of Flomax. We begin the 7th, looking for 5 in a row.
Just a pinch inside of target and comes up just a little high and leaves the 6-pin. He wants this trip 6 to happen for him, to give him 5 in a row and keep the pressure on Walter Ray. Doesn't get it.
Well, Mike's done a real nice job pulling himself back into this match after a challenging start. Went spare open frame to start things off. But here's Walter Ray Williams Jr. He knows how to close the door on anybody. 3 strikes in a row, looking for 4. Again, last week he hit the $4 million career earnings list. No ham bone for you.
Maybe not.
Is there?
Maybe.
Get down!
Well, he was looking for the messenger. It just wasn't fast enough, and leaves another 10-pin. Head pin goes to the sideboard. Comes across, but just not enough power and speed to get that pin to come over fast enough.
So close.
Apparently, those pins don't know who they're up against.
The audacity of that 10-pin.
Walter Ray going at a 2:28 pace right now. Mike Scroggins 2:16. 12-pin lead for Walter Ray. 8th frame. This match still up for grabs.
6-time PBA Player of the Year. Gets them all there. He won 2 titles last season to bring his total to 44. Made the televised show last week. See him doing some work on his right arm, elbow, and wrist. He's had some wrist issues as well. Mike Scroggins with some ankle issues. In fact, the doctor recommended surgery on it. He'd be out 8 to 12 months, and Mike said, no thanks, I'm going to fight through it.
Well, Mike Scroggins isn't going to go away quietly. He won the Dick Weber Open on this very same oil pattern. He can strike out for 246. That's the good news. The bad news, Walter Ray Williams Jr. can strike out for 258. So no matter what Mike Scroggins does, he can't shut out Walter Ray.
We open the 9th. Gets him!
He can't shut him out, but he can let him know that he's still around.
So he will sit and watch Walter Ray Williams Jr. finish out, see if he has a chance in the 10th.
And this is the biggest shot of the match, because if Walter Ray does not strike here, Mike Scroggins can double in the 10th and shut him out.
Gets him!
He knows the score. That's a bad mammal when it comes to bowling, my friend.
I was waiting for that line. You know, his last win, you're going to have to go back to December of last year, the Great Lakes Classic in Wyoming, Michigan. Just kind of uncharacteristic. You would have thought he would have won more recently than going back to last year in December.
Especially when he made 8 telecasts.
Three-bagger. So Turkey's on the plate.
And that's huge, because that gets him in the 240s. 9 spare right now. He locks this match up. A strike puts it away.
A ham bone for the win. Don't roll your eyes at me. Don't you dare roll your eyes at me.
9 or better. Walter Ray's going to bowl for the title. All he has to do is keep it on the lane, and he's moving on.
Show me those signs, Hammond.
He doesn't even have to keep it on the lane.
No.
Foul or gutter, he shoots 248. Mike Scroggins will lose by 2.
Finish strong. Next.
Scroggins is saying himself, well, it's tough to beat 250s on television. You give him back the second frame when he had that open in the 3-7 split. You put a strike there, and it's a whole new ball game. It's amazing how one shot can turn around an entire match.
We have a senior event later in our broadcast. With Walter Ray Williams Jr. turning 50 next year, he will be eligible for the senior tour. Here's his thoughts on it.
Well, I love bowling, and I will probably bowl most of the senior events. Depends on my schedule. I play a few horseshoe tournaments during the spring and summer, so depending on what conflicts with what and how the money is, I'll probably be bowling most of the senior events, and hopefully I can do as well as Tom Baker's done in the last few years. That's amazing.
Walter Ray Williams Jr. Can he bowl the PBA, the senior PBA, and also throw on the horseshoe tour? Why not? Anything's possible. Scroggins said he needs to bowl at least a 230 to have a chance. 222 is not going to do it. Walter Ray moves on. When we return, an amateur takes a crack at the title. Welcome back to ESPN's continuing coverage of the Lake County, Indiana Golden Anniversary Championship. We continue our countdown of the 50 greatest bowlers of all time, and we begin, Randy, with the tie at number 37.
Yeah, the late Bill Allen, he was the best full roller of all time and the first dominant left-hander to come out on the PBA Tour.
Larry Lobb, classic form, never really got the recognition he deserved.
Number 36, Dave Farrell. He was always great in the clutch, and the one thing I remember about Dave, if he needed one in the 10th frame, he got it.
Number 1 in your heart, number 35 on the list, Randy Peterson. Won his first title in 1986, followed that up with 2 titles in 87, including his lone major, the PBA National Championship. Good job, Randy.
Thank you, Rob. Number 34, David Ozio, the technician. Nobody worked harder than David. He was always striving for perfection.
And at number 33, George Pappas, the general, measured his greatness by beating better players. And our focus this week, appropriately enough, shines on my partner, Randy Peterson. Won a title in 5 different seasons in the 1990s. Bo Burton, more with Randy.
Checking in at number 35 is Randy Peterson. The charismatic, smooth-stroking right-hander chalked up 13 wins in his career and amassed more than $1.1 million in earnings along the way. His career highlights include a win in the 1987 PBA National Championship and a victory in the 1989 Japan Cup. Of course, Peterson is known now for his expert commentary on the PBA's ESPN telecast.
I've been waiting the whole offseason for that feature, my friends. I just love the retrospective look at all your hairstyles.
Well, you know, you had to stay up with the times, Rob. Oh, man, that brought back some memories. That was...
That's the winning picture right there.
Yeah, that's the bad mustache and the pre-braces look on the left. And then,
At which stage did you meet your wife? Hopefully neither one of those?
Buddy, it was after I came out of my cocoon.
Let's move on.
Don't hate.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. This is going to be a wonderful semifinal. We're going to set this up a little bit better here after Anthony LaCaze makes his first shot. And the amateur drops them all.
What a story.
From Glen Ellen, Illinois, about 40 miles west of Chicago, bowled collegiately at Saginaw State in Michigan with, for one season, his opponent right now, Bill O'Neill. And these two have a long history together. O'Neill from Levittown, Pennsylvania, has some work in front of him here in the first frame.
Former Rookie of the Year, voted on back in 2005, 2006. He led all rookies in points, earnings, match play appearances, and average. And if these two players look like their styles are familiar or mirroring one another, that's because Anthony LaCaze actually tried to emulate Bill O'Neill's style.
Nice pickup. You were watching them in warm-ups and saying, I'm looking at Anthony, and I might as well be eyeballing O'Neill.
A lot of similarities, and I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me when you're watching both players is how they both try to work the inside part of the ball, and what that means is as the ball's starting to fall from the top of the swing, they try to get their ball to their hand to the inside part of the ball. That creates just a great leverage position and sets up two really nice releases by both players. See that hand to the inside. And Rob, I think the best thing that could have happened to Anthony was bowling his friend, being the first time ever on television. You know, you've got somebody there that you actually feel comfortable with and somebody that can help you relax a bit.
And speaking of first time on television, he's having to rework the microphone that we placed on him.
A little wireless mic issue, no big deal.
He took care of it actually fairly gingerly, and I know our audio staff will appreciate that.
Yeah.
So LaCaze, the amateur, in the second. Another strike, and we talked with Anthony earlier about the pressures of bowling. Your first match?
Really no pressure. I'm the amateur. They're the pros. So they're expected to beat me. And I just go out here and have some fun.
This is his first match on television. A few years ago when he was in college, he bowled in Taylor, Michigan, did not make the cut. So this technically his second ever crack at a PBA event, and here he is in the semifinals versus his longtime buddy, Bill O'Neill, looking to open up with a turkey.
Boy, and when you're just trying to keep your lunch down because of the nerves, that's a really nice break to have happen. When you leave at the 210 and the 2-pin gets tripped late, leaving Anthony just a single-pin spare. And when we talked with him last night for a long time, there's just so many great stories about this wonderful young man. He was a pleasure to speak with and talk to. And nice conversion on the 10. Had a lot of great stories, didn't he, Rob?
Yeah, picks up the spare, and he said about 6 guys from Saginaw Valley State University drove about 6 hours to come on down and watch the two guys bowl. LaCaze an All-American 05. O'Neill just tore it up collegiately. 3-time Bowling Writers Association of America Collegiate Bowl of the Year. That was 01, 03, and 04. 4-time first-team All-American. LaCaze was married in April of 07. Who was his best man? Bill O'Neill. We hijacked those pictures yesterday at our meeting, and Anthony, conveniently enough, just happened to have the whole stack of pictures in the trunk of his car. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll have to ask the Mrs. Alaya about that. I mean, on one hand, it's good that he's traveling with them.
I think it's nice.
Yeah. We're gonna look on the positive aspect of it. Here's Bill O'Neill as we begin the fourth, looking for his 3rd consecutive strike. This must be an extremely awkward situation, really for both, but particularly for LaCaze, with this being his first televised event. And, you know, when these guys bowled together, there's talking, there's conversation, and now this is strictly opponents. This is a paycheck. This is money talking, and not a lot of conversation between the two. Not a lot of eyes or congratulations. It's different. There's Aliyah, Anthony's wife, in attendance.
Anthony watched Brad Angelo win last week and then promptly beat Brad in the round of 8 just to make the telecast. As this ball's just a little bit inside of target, leaving the 4-pin.
Beat Sean Rash, then Dino Castillo, and then Angelo to get here.
He said before college he never bowled on a tough oil pattern.
Last time an amateur made a television show was the 08 Denny's World Championship. That's when Andrew Frawley from Australia made it. Last time an amateur won a title, have to go back to the 02 ABC Masters when Brett Wolf did it.
Brett Wolf did it throwing a urethane bowling ball in Reno. Never forget that day. Pretty impressive stuff.
So many stories that LaCaze was giving us yesterday. I ran out of paper. From Uncle Joe to Johnny Bell to the whole story about his shirt. We'll get to as many of these as we can.
Not a very friendly break, especially for your first ever televised appearance. This one comes in just a pinch high, leaving the 4-9. And now he's looking to get the ball to the left side of the 4-pin and slide it over into the 9 as his wife is feeling the same agony. Oof. Good effort there. Right now, Bill O'Neill's looking to take advantage of an open frame as he steps up in the 5th frame, working on a 3-bagger.
O'Neill yet to win a title in 64 events, had 8 top 20 finishes last season. 2 of those came in the top 10. And right now, he is number 3 on the PBA points leader list, trailing Norm Duke and Walter Ray Williams Jr. Very quietly having a strong start to the season. Finished 9th at the World Championships and 8th last week. This will be his 3rd straight top 10 finish. And a hambo!
And Robin, talking with Bill, I think he's starting to get better mentally, and that's the turnaround.
Yeah, he admitted he didn't take much time off this summer, wanted to become more of a thinker. You know, out here to forget the day before, start bowling for the present day. We remind you to head to the online store at PBA.com to check out the all-new PBA merchandise and apparel now available. Some of those items include polos, retro shirts, hoodies, hats, and towels. PBA.com, the place to make your order today. Not too early to start thinking about the holidays either, my friend. So O'Neill started with a 7 spare. Since then, 4 consecutive strikes.
See if we can get a shot of Bill O'Neill's hand at release. Now watch how he tries to fan this open. You see that hand just kind of come up and out because that ball was going to be left out of his hand. And he goes right through the nose, paying the price, leaving the 410.
So his first open frame and leaves an opening for his friend LaCaze. Have you ever wanted to sponsor a bowler? Here's your chance, America. We'll explain when we return. Welcome back to ESPN's continuing live coverage of the PBA Lake County, Indiana Golden Anniversary Championship. Our thanks to Jason Sands, Director of Sports Development for South Shore Sports Promotions here in the area. And we take a look at the Denny's Player of the Year points list. Norm Duke still on top, courtesy of his win earlier this season. get back to the wood as Anthony LaCaze steps up in the 6th. Down by 21 following an open frame in the 5th. The nerves did not rattle him in the opening 2 frames where he struck. Since then, it's been spare, open. Way wide right.
Well, it's really his first bad shot of the match. He did go light and leave the 210, kicked the 2-pin late, but this one gets wide of that burned up track area, and it won't recover from there, and he leaves the 1-2-8-10. Now he's going to try to get the ball to the left side of the head pin and slide it over into the 10. The ball will cover the 2-8.
Nice pickup! A huge confidence builder in the 6th.
Well, this is a huge break. Watch the head pin. It's going to come out from the back and clip the 10. And a huge break. He didn't lose count because he was working on an open frame. Right now, a strike. A couple, 2 or 3 in a row. He's right back in this match.
Down 21, but O'Neill is working off an open frame. Gets them all!
Well, you just got to love his demeanor. He's so calm and cool and really bowling a pretty nice game with the exception of the last shot on the right lane. You may have to remove the word amateur.
Yeah, and he has a lot of people to thank this week. You got Johnny Bell, a 60-year-old who bowled with him, a traveling team who ponied up the $300 just to get him into this tournament. Uncle Joe's helped drill his balls. O'Neill finds it and drops them all. And as we take a look at the Lumber Liquidators Know the Wood oil pattern this week, it is the Dick Weber pattern, the first of 2 times it will be used this season. Conveniently enough, the Dick Weber Open will be the other time.
The Dick Weber oil pattern, 39 feet in length. We had 4 300 games this week. Look for the power players, or the hookers as Rob likes to call them, trying to bank that big power balls right off of that gray shaded area. Walter Ray Williams Jr., he's going to be doing his Maroon 5 imitation, piping it right up first arrow, making it harder to breathe for most of his opponents. Look for the southpaws to play just left of second arrow.
Another strike for O'Neill.
Back-to-back jacks for Bill O'Neill, taking advantage of the open frame from his opponent, Anthony LaCaze. He wants to keep and maintain that big lead.
Wednesday, rolling the TQR, he was fined $100 for not having a name on his shirt. Had to pay it before he could bowl again. Conveniently enough, his dad had given him some money a couple days before, and he hadn't gone to the bank yet to drop it into his account. Gets all 10 there, so LaCaze was able to pay the fine and continue to bowl. But that left him with a problem. He still needed a shirt, so his friend Yvonne Sawstand does some embroidery, made him a shirt, wore it Thursday, made the cut, stayed up to about 1 a.m. cleaning it, made the next cut, and she made him a new shirt. She picked peach for Sunday. Originally, he was bowling in green because, as Yvonne said, green for money.
Good-looking shirt, Yvonne.
Drop it, give me 10.
And the bowling gods are on Anthony's side. He trips the 2-pin, only leaves the 10. Then he trips the 2 for a strike. Throws a good shot there for a double. Gets the head pin to kick off the wall to make the washout in the 6th frame. Now all he needs is a little bit of help from his good friend Bill O'Neill.
These 2 fraternity brothers, Sigma Pi at Saginaw Valley State University, and O'Neill was LaCaze's big brother. Big Brother Munson, the name. In the 9th. Gets all 10. Needs a strike and 5 pins, Randy.
Yep, and no Munson on that last shot there. Just another nicely executed shot by Bill O'Neill.
Very focused, Bill O'Neill, today. You know, a lot of distractions out there. He's never won a title. His parents are in attendance. He's bowling against a guy who he was best man for at his wedding. Walter Ray Williams Jr. waiting in the wings for the winner of this one. He's handled the pressure very well. 10-pin stance.
A spare here and a strike on his fill ball. He'll shoot 235. Anthony LaCaze can strike out to shoot 235. That's just a great shot and a bad break for Bill O'Neill. We have the possibility of a tie.
Anthony leaning back to do some math.
All-important fill shot, 10 here, 235. Anthony LaCaze will need all 3 in the 10th.
.235 it is.
Can't lose. Rob, I watched this young man finish 6th at the 62nd U.S. Open as an amateur, and everybody expected great things from him. I think you're starting to see the real deal, as his nickname is. Bill O'Neill is really starting to come of age out here on the PBA Tour.
So the amateur, Anthony LaCaze, has a huge following here today. His wife, folks from Specialty Enterprises where he works, and this is a guy who's looking for a sponsor. He said to us yesterday, if I had a sponsor, I would be out on the PBA Tour. Right now, he just does not have the finances to do it.
Over. Bill O'Neill will bowl Walter Ray for the title. This kid's got game, though, Rob. He's got a lot of talent. He needs experience, and he needs to get out and bowl some of the tougher tournaments, the regional events, and then get out and try to get out here on tour.
I was telling him yesterday, right now I bowl about 3 games a week in a sporting league.
3 games a week.
You know, you roll the 2-pin and wake the wash out the back. If you'd have beat me, you weren't my friend no more. You know that, right? You know that, right?
It's okay.
Great moment there between 2 longtime friends. Finally, they get a chance to be friends. So LaCaze take home a $6,000 check, and that's going to start paying off some student loans for him.
What up, Todd? What up, everybody at the house? Weiner, what up, dude? This is coming home, brother.
Bill O'Neill with the shout-out. Up next for him, the living legend, Walter Ray Williams Jr. When we return, we'll prep you for our final and tell you where we'll be next week.
The Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN is brought to you by Bayer. The more you know, the more you trust Bayer. By Prescription Flomax. By CLR. CLR. All kinds of dirty, one kind of clean. And by the United States Bowling Congress, ensuring the integrity and protecting the future of the sport of bowling. Bowl with us.
A look at the Indiana Dunes National Lakeshore, one of the many family-friendly things to do along Lake Michigan's beautiful South Shore. For more information, go to www.lakecountykcbb.com. You want more PBA action? Well, head to the Detroit area. Taylor, Michigan is where we'll be next week for the Chameleon Championship. And And after that, the Ultimate Scoring Championship, also from Taylor Lanes in Taylor, Michigan. Time now for the Geico Championship recap, and we begin with semi number 1, Mike Scroggins versus Walter Ray Williams Jr.
You got it, Rob. Walter Ray Williams Jr. gets up and just goes pack, pack, pack. 10th frame to seal the deal against Mike Scroggins. And in semifinal number 2, the best friends, Anthony LaCaze against Bill O'Neill. Bill O'Neill strikes on his fill shot. Anthony does not. Bill O'Neill will now take on the greatest player in the history of bowling. These great players make it look so easy, even a caveman could do it, Rob.
Williams looking for his 45th title. O'Neill seeking his first. The championship match of the Lake County, Indiana Golden Anniversary Championship is next. This the 4th straight year the PBA has been in Lake County. We are in Hammond, Indiana. The Olympia Lanes set for the title match of the Golden Anniversary Championship. Rob Stone, Randy Peterson, glad you're spending part of your Sunday afternoon here with you. And plenty of ham bones already this afternoon between Bill O'Neill and Walter Ray Williams Jr. And Walter Ray will bat first. Again, seeking career tour title number 45.
He starts first, which means he finishes the match on the right lane. I like that strategy. It was Bill O'Neill's choice because he was the higher seed out of qualifying. The number 9 seed, Walter Ray, qualified 22nd.
O'Neill making his 4th career televised appearance, looking for his first title. First frame of his semifinal, he left the 3-6-10, was able to convert that. This time just leaves the 10 to open up the championship match. Here's O'Neill on what it'll take to win his first title today.
I just got to bowl the way I bowled all week. I mean, no one bowled better than me this week. And if I just bowl that way, I can't lose.
And he's right, Rob. If you look at the overall average, we talked about Walter Ray averaging almost 250 in match play, but Walter Ray's overall average for the week, 233. Bill O'Neill's average for the week, 234.
Don't throw it like that.
Asked him about his goals this season. He said, well, definitely to win. I want to be more than a one-year-a-show guy. I want to be a threat every week to win on the PBA Tour. This guy is already there as far as being an every-week threat.
Yeah, he certainly has a physical game for that. And right now, what's going to make Bill O'Neill a better player is just resting on top of his shoulders.
Not see that leave often.
Wow. Nice guess.
From Walter Ray.
Walter Ray looked uncomfortable on this right lane throughout practice. Coming off of a 258 game, I'm wondering if Bill O'Neill caught on to that and forced Walter Ray to start and make him finish on this right lane.
Open frame now for Walter Ray. He was clean in his semifinals, not so here in the championship match. That's how you respond.
Great tip for the folks at home. Watch Walter Ray's eyes on his target. They never leave his target. That's how you learn to be accurate.
Wow. I've got much more now.
And Robin, watch the balance of this kid when he hits the foul line.
strike for the 4-time first-team All-American at Saginaw Valley State University, up in University Center, Michigan. A lot of bowlers from Saginaw Valley State made the trip down here today.
Hand works to the inside part. Look at that balance. Look at that great follow-through. Balance, eyes on the target, follow-through going in the direction you want the bowling ball to go in.
Opened with the spare, since then a pair of strikes. Messenger just misses the 10.
Interesting pin carry. Watch this. 6 pin goes around the 10 like a ring in 10, but the 7 pin almost stands up. Well, that was the last thing Bill O'Neill wants to see in a title match against Walter Ray, is pocket 7-10.
Through 3.5 frames, that's where we stand. The conclusion of the Lake County, Indiana Golden Anniversary Championship when our live coverage returns. Bill O'Neill seeking his first PBA Tour title with a 21-pin lead early over Walter Ray Williams Jr. And I want to remind you, tomorrow night, big one on Monday Night Football. Mike Singletary leads his San Francisco 49ers against Kurt Warner, Larry Fitzgerald, in that high-powered offense in Arizona. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS.
Don't forget, Anquan Bolden's back from his injury. Pretty tough offense they've got down there in Arizona. Kurt Warner's looking great, just like his past. Well, he did have 2 MVP years.
Rookie Tim Hightower carrying the ball as well for the Cards. Messenger. Yeah!
As long as the machine doesn't hit it on the way down, it counts. And that appeared to be a good strike. Walter Ray checking to make sure that that was a legal strike. Let's take a look at the replay. As long as the machine doesn't touch it. Need another angle, Rob.
Good.
Walter Ray saw it, and Walter Ray called it good. Boy, he's pretty sharp when it comes to that stuff. That's a legal strike. It counts. Walter Ray now looking to take the lead.
That came down fast. And let it breathe a little bit. Jeez. Oof.
Might have been a little amped up on that one. Oh,
Let's
man.
take one more look at that strike in the 4th for Walter Ray.
God.
Keep your eye on the right and the 10 pin. No, it didn't touch it.
No, it didn't.
Right, come on.
And then Walter Ray gets a little bit over pumped and throws this next shot a little bit too hard, leaving a 2-8. Boy, it was a nice break he could have taken advantage of.
Double wood. Drops them both.
O'Neill positioned now to take command of this championship match with a strike here in the 5th and 6th.
The 05-06 Rookie of the Year. Bill O'Neill, again, this just his 4th career televised singles appearance, seeking his first ever title. Very focused. Very sure of himself right now. Want to remind you, after this match, bonus bowling. The seniors take to the lanes. Hugh Miller and Tim Kauble. And some interesting stories about Mr. Kauble and his profession and his younger days. Let's just put it at that. I can't wait to unleash some of these stories. He was shaking his head all day yesterday during our meetings like, I can't believe I told you this. Oh, what is my wife going to do to me? Messenger for the 10. Does not get the Walter Ray love tap.
This rack is so bad.
Bill O'Neill can just get a little bit softer with his speed on this left lane, that ball will make it up the hill and get a little bit higher into that pocket. Does not get the WRW2 love tap.
That 10-pin has been tested by messengers all day long and has stood pretty resilient, to be honest.
It's been a factor. And what this does, though, is it keeps Walter Ray in the match with O'Neill not throwing another double. He's still in the 209. Walter Ray is only 13 back, looking to strike here in the 6th and 7th to cut the lead to 3.
There's a look at his title match stats. The Ocala, Florida resident styles in another 10-pin party in the pit.
Let's not forget that this guy is 49 years old, and how fitting, this being the golden anniversary of the Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour. Walter Ray going to be 50 in the not-too-distant future, looking to double dip on both the seniors and the regular tour. Right now looking to get right back in this match.
Said he's planning on bowling every event this season, has to see how the body feels. 10, yeah!
And how about Walter Ray just slinging messengers and Bill O'Neill not? I mean, Bill O'Neill's a high rev guy, Walter Ray the straight player. He is just the most incredible bowler that I've ever seen, to get the pins to react this way with that ball going so straight. And I know that every touring player watching this telecast is saying the exact same thing. They're scratching their heads going, how does he do it?
Well, some of the advice he would give would say, hey, guys, learn how to play lots of different lane conditions and styles and learn to follow through. That's what he was telling us yesterday. O'Neill, his follow through says he's way off.
That is brutal.
Now, we talked about, now you said, looking at O'Neill, he's got the game. It just needs to be what's on top of his shoulders. Maybe a little bit rattled now. A 9 spare in the 6th, and now trying to make another 9 spare in the 7th. He's doing a little more talking to himself, a little more demonstrative, maybe not in a positive way.
Well, Rob, Billy can't control what his opponent does. And, you know, yeah, Walter Ray got a good break there and kicking the 10 out, but Bill O'Neill was still in the lead and still is in the lead now by 2. He just needs to get up and just focus on just making good shots.
Just 3 strikes so far here in the title match for O'Neill as Walter Ray looks on. Needed that. O'Neill takes a seat, and up comes Walter Ray Williams Jr. working on back-to-back strikes.
Walter Ray can take the lead.
He's won at least 1 title in 15 consecutive seasons, trying to make it 16 today.
I think he's figured out the right lane, Rob.
The messengers have been active today for WRWJ. Boom. And again. Good signs in Hammond.
For Bill O'Neill to have a chance at winning his first ever career title, it is paramount that he strikes out in the 9th and 10th frame. Walter Ray can strike out for 246. The best Bill O'Neill can shoot 238.
Down 18 in the 9th. A big drop there.
Should Bill O'Neill get 2 strikes and 9 in the 10th frame, it would force Walter Ray to throw 2 strikes in the 10th to win. Biggest shot of his career.
It really doesn't hook there. That really doesn't hook, huh? That good.
This tournament has just been gift wrapped to Walter Ray Williams Jr. If anything, this looks just a little bit fast, and it blows right through the hook spot, leaving the 2-4-8-10. Gift wrapped.
D for done.
Hard to beat the horseshoe. Hard to beat the horseshoe. Through the year. Ah, wait.
Title 145 to that man, Walter Ray Williams Jr. Did I say 145? Maybe it just feels like that. Title 45.
There you go.
If that was title 145, he'd be like a god or something.
He already is.
Kind of is.
Yeah. Just an amazing guy. Just when he looked like he was dead on that right lane, he moves in just a pinch, makes a little parallel move in, and flushes his way to victory. 45th career title. For those of you that are still debating who the greatest ever is,
stop debating.
Stop it. You're looking at him right there.
A little winning kiss from wife Paige. Why not? 7 in a row to conclude. Apropos conclusion for Walter Ray.
Getting some love from Mr. and Mrs. Salvino. Hard to believe that his last win was almost a year ago.
December 2nd of 07, the last time Walter Ray Williams Jr. was able to raise the hardware on the PBA Tour. Walter Ray will join us in our next segment as the seniors take to the stage. Walter Ray Williams Jr. wins it. Wow. Our thanks to Nick Loxis, the proprietor here at Olympia Lanes in Hammond, Indiana, for his welcoming embrace all weekend long here. The Lake County, Indiana Golden Anniversary Championship continues with bonus bowling. The senior championship, Hugh Miller from Seattle, Washington, taking on Tim Kauble from Marion, Ohio. Walter Ray Williams Jr. has just won his 45th career title as he continues to add to that total, the most in PBA history. There's a look at Miller and Kauble.
Hugh Miller with television experience. This is the first time ever for Tim Kauble.
First time since 2001 that a senior event championship has been televised. Started this week with an 87-man field, 5 of them Hall of Famers, down to 2. Here's Tim Kauble. A member of the Marion Bowling Hall of Fame. Shots like that. Break it down, Tim. Now, Tim has been known to dance. Back in high school, he performed on BBF Dance-A-Rama. He said it was about his junior year in high school, a dance contest. Kind of like something from Greece, I guess. And there's plenty more where that came from. Here's Hugh Miller. Come on! The southpaw, and no dancing from Hugh, which may be for the best.
Well, we all know what happened the last time a righty took on a southpaw. That's when Walter Ray shot 258 against Mike Scroggins. But Hugh Miller has 7 career titles out here on tour, and this guy bowled 300 in the title match against Dale Eagle at the PBA Senior Epicenter Classic in Klamath Falls this past summer. This guy knows how to play.
Miller with one victory and one second place finish on this year's senior PBA Tour. Turned 52 on Friday. Asked him how he celebrated. He said, well, by making the finals and then back to the hotel. I promise you a better 52nd birthday, Randy, when you get there in 35 years.
Welcome to the tour. Life on the road. We'll watch Tim Kauble take a page out of Walter Ray's book and play in that outside line. I'll tell you what, it's amazing watching the youngsters coming out on the tour, and you watch them, all they want to do is just curve it from one side of the lane to the other, and yet all the guys that are making all the money throw it straight. Keeping it in that zone right there, right just inside the first arrow.
This is his first bowling appearance on television, but again, not his first time on television. I know, Randy, you were very interested in his dance-a-rama contest. He said he made the first cut, and then the hatchet came down. Asked him who he danced with. He goes, I think it was a brunette. Don't remember the name. What did he dance to? I think it was Motown. Let's see another dance, Tim. Tim's into this one.
Well, you know, he's got 11 regional titles, senior regional titles to his credit. He did finish second, losing to George Pappas in the 04 Senior Manassas Open. So it's not like this guy just fell out of the sky. He knows how to bowl.
Miller drops them all. This is his first televised appearance since February of 03, when in Dallas he took on Parker Bone III. And the Flomax player profile for Hugh Miller. There's how he qualified and his match play record. His 25th career singles appearance on television.
Actually bowled against Hugh in Grand Prairie back in 1990. Showing my age a little bit.
Here. That was your rookie year, right?
Unfortunately, no. You're supposed to ask me if I won or not.
Oh, did you win?
Yeah, I beat him.
Of course.
He did that. I think he did that. He needed a strike in the 10th, and he went high and left the 6-pin.
Miller has gone strike, spare, strike, and what's he going to do here in the 4th?
He needs to figure out this left lane. It's Tim Kauble's putting it to him.
Tim Kauble of Dance-A-Rama fame with an opening three-bagger. Shake it, but don't break it, Tim. The conclusion, and Walter Ray Williams Jr. joins us live when we return.
The Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN is brought to you by Etonic, the official footwear of the PBA. By Denny's, where America's favorite breakfast is now available to go. Real breakfast 24/7. By Geico. 15 minutes could save 15% on your car insurance. Visit geico.com. And by Lumber Liquidators. Hardwood flooring for less.
Welcome you back to Hammond, Indiana. 4 300 games were bowled this week. Tim Kauble had one of them in the senior round of 8. And there is his wife, Christy, who is, let's just say, significantly younger than Tim. And Tim went out of his way to let us know that, and we immediately patted him on the back.
And he said that, you know, he was going to get in big trouble after telling us those dancing stories. You know, once his wife found out, it was going to be curtains for him. So, thanks, Rob.
Could have been a senior Hambo. And you hear that laugh. I know Walter Ray Williams Jr. loves the Hambo. I'm sure you've been cursing my name for the last year and change. Walter Ray Williams Jr., he of 45 career PBA Tour titles, has joined us live as we take a look at the second shot from Kauble. And
missed it.
Oh, that's not good.
That TV break might have fried him a little bit, and the missus is none too happy. Walter Ray, you and I were talking yesterday about the parallels that we're seeing already for you going back to last season and the start of this season? Explain a little bit on that.
Well, I'm getting up there in age, and my expectations aren't quite what they used to be. And last year I started out great, and I was in the running for Player of the Year. I thought, hey, let's go for it. And unfortunately, I came up just a hair short, but I had a great season. And so far, kind of the same thing. Started out, and things are going great so far. I got a bunch of good breaks against Bill. He bowled great. He just had that one bad shot against me, and I got those 2 messenger 10s. I don't know how that one lane, that rack is nice and slow for me.
Miller in the 5th.
Walter Ray, you see Tim Kauble kind of playing that same line that you're playing, and we talk about it on a weekly basis. You see all the young kids coming out, young players coming out on tour, and all they'd like to do is hook it. And we talk about being versatile out here and being able to hook it and go straight.
Well, I think that's definitely the advantage, the guys that can do both really well. And there's a bunch of guys that can. The guys that just only hook it, those are the ones that are going to have a lot more trouble. Uh-oh.
Speaking of trouble.
Wow.
And that was for the lead.
He's not liking that left lane.
And we talked to him earlier before the telecast. He says, man, you have to be really accurate on this oil pattern, or at least he felt like he had to be. A little bit left or right of target, and he did this.
Yeah, it went like the first frame, and he's compensated the last 2 shots, thinking it's not going to hook up. And as soon as you get it going towards the pins, it wants to hook up. I kind of had that problem a little bit, in the qualifying rounds. Didn't want to go away too much. When you're bowling one match on one pair of lanes, I can get a groove in and don't have to worry about the guys in front of me, how they're messing the lanes up. The guys that hook the ball, they're great bowlers. And when the lanes break down, they get a great reaction, and they just make the pins fly. And Tim's playing the lanes very well. I think he's got a good shot. It's hard to say what's on the left side. Hugh's a great bowler, as is Mike, and it's just a matter of, getting things the way you want them. Unfortunately, you don't always get that. And even when I came on the second match, they hooked quite a bit more. I was surprised how much I needed to move. About 3 boards, which may not sound like a lot, but when you're playing 3, that's a lot.
Kauble looking for his 3rd straight strike. Oof.
Another good shot. Just a hair short.
His real job, I don't know if you're aware of this, Walter Ray. The city of Marion, he is the plant operator for the last 27 years at their water pollution control plant. His quote, not a lot of exciting things happen at a water pollution control plant. He used another word that's a little bluer.
But you need them.
Oh, yes.
You need those.
And let's remind the folks watching at home that this counts as a senior title. So there's a lot on the line, not just the money, but title as well. And that man there looking for his first ever title.
Yeah, and obviously the pride. These guys want to win no matter what they're bowling for.
Miller gets them all.
He's liking that right lane, but unfortunately he chose to finish on the left lane.
All right.
Which a lot of guys do. They like to finish first, but sometimes you got to really think about what the pair's doing. But it's hard to do that. You're going to get a few practice shots, and you're not 100% sure what the pair's doing. And he obviously wanted to finish first, but I don't know if that's his favorite lane.
Nothing but strikes on the right lane. Spare, open frame on this left. And another spare opportunity.
Can't buy one on that lane.
The pinch closer.
I can officially say I don't like that lane.
Yeah.
Give me another game or 2 and I might figure it out.
We know how you feel. We've been there plenty of times, Randy, huh?
You a lot more than me, sir. But, yeah, I can kind of relate. But let's talk a little bit about the importance of bowling on tough oil patterns to improve accuracy, Walter.
Oh, definitely. I think that's one of the things missing in especially younger players. They're growing up on such easy lane conditions. And actually next week we have a tournament that we're bowling at on a very high-scoring condition. I think it's going to be televised the week after. And it's the guys can average 250, and but you come out here in a little tougher lane condition, and all of a sudden you don't have the area in the room, and your arm swing tightens up a little bit. Another nice break.
This guy's swing's not tightening up.
No, he's doing all right. He's getting the pins to fall down for him. You need that.
Walter, you were talking about that pattern. It's the Ultimate Scoring Championship, which will air in a couple of weeks, and they're going to compete on a house oil pattern that they're saying is going to yield some high scores.
It's a modified house pattern. It's a PBA's version of a house pattern, so guys are going to throw some strikes on it, but it isn't necessarily the absolute highest scoring pattern they could come up with. I think, if they had enough time, they could oil a lane, that guys would never miss, and the average would be 250 of everybody. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think there'll definitely be a lot of strikes.
And that, the 7th strike.
Just about lots of it.
For Kauble.
And Rob, Walter Ray averaged 250 on this pattern today. Kauble looking to lock up and secure his first ever senior title. And what a nice break this is. Walter Ray, have you ever done this? A little trip 9?
Trip 9? Yeah, I did it at Philball. I mean, that was amazing. I mean, normally I don't get the scouts, and Billy had 2 that didn't get there, and I had 2 that did, and that's a part of the game. You got to get the breaks, and I got the breaks against Bill. I felt he bowled a better game than I finally got lined up at the end because, like I said, the lane was playing quite a bit different. Even though I had a fair number of practice shots, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I got to move this much. My first shot on the right lane, I couldn't believe it hooked that much. It's just part of the game and part of the experience you hopefully gain.
Leaves the 7.
Well, it sure was great seeing Hugh Miller back on television again, and I know that Huey's not going to leave satisfied finishing second, but he had a very nice career, 7 wins on the regular tour. He's got 1 senior title, and he's just he's a great athlete. He keeps himself in great shape at 52 years of age. Still runs marathons, and well, you can see it at 52. He's still throwing 16-pound equipment.
He was telling me earlier, he runs about 15, 20 miles a week. He's done some half marathons. No races coming up, though. Some left Achilles issues.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the... Another 7. I think that first shot he threw kind of fooled him a little bit, and then he made the adjustment off of it, and it kind of cost him. But Tim bowled great. So.
He did.
And mathematically, this one is over, and Tim will take his first senior tour title. The native of Marion, Ohio, will get right back to work tomorrow at the water pollution control plant back in town.
I'm almost thinking you want to join him.
You're right. We need it. And another strike. Walter Ray Williams, Jr., I want to thank you for joining us live and congratulate you again on tour victory number 45. Did you ever think you'd get that many?
No, I never thought that. I'm still elated. But I'm going to go out there and try to give these kids more fits. That's my plan. And then in a year and a half, give these old guys some fits.
Yeah, they don't want to see you come out there.
No.
Congratulations to this guy. Tim Kauble, what a performance.
Yes. Great bowling this week, Hugh.
Yeah. I bowled right next to him, or a couple pair away from him qualifying. He started out doing great. Had to hang in the second round when he got a little tricked up, but bowled a great match against Mark Williams, and then obviously the second match to make the show.
Very nice man, too. It was a pleasure speaking with him last night.
Yeah, it sounded like you having a good time with him.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And he dances us off the air. Tim Kauble with his wife Christy in attendance takes home the title, his first career senior tour title. So 2 pieces of hardware handed out today. Walter A. Williams, Jr., his first of the year, and he has now won at least 1 title in 16 consecutive seasons. And continues to put the pressure on the young guys. Next week, we head to the Detroit area. The Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN continues Sunday, 1 Eastern on ESPN. The Chameleon Championship coming your way from Taylor, Michigan. Walter A. Williams, Jr. took down Mike Scroggins in semi number 1, 258, 222. Bill O'Neill was the next to fall, 246, 202. Title number 45 is in the books. The senior, Tim Kauble, wins his first. For Randy Peterson and our entire crew, I'm Rob Stone. College football final is next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.